Welcome to another weekend here on the platform. My name is Sam Omashe. My column will be read to you shortly.
Nothing demonstrates the state of a democracy at independence like the cow and the drama in Ondo State. The episode hit everyone in the country like a jolt. The cows wanted to graze. The lush green fields appetized the herds. The sky was soft and blue. Witnesses deny a cloudburst was in the offing. No one, not the herdsman, saw any omen in the heavens. They moved and mauled to the mountain for a refuge of food and comfort. The gods thought otherwise. The locals warned, just as the custodian of the deity. It was forbidden ground. Don't go there. But temptation often overpowers the senses. The cow shall not live by words, but by every blade of grass that lodges in the jaw. Against the warning, they went. All 36 of them. It was a highland close enough to the finger fury of the gods. Before they knew it, the sky opened with rage. Lightning flashed, thunderstorms roared, and all 36 fell. The locals and not a few Nigerians believed the bovine tragedy was a case of divine revenge. The animals died, but the humans survived. Some have looked at it not from the scientific point of view. The study of geography shows that cows should be wary of grazing on mountains. 1. It's close to the tempest of the sky. 2. They are often too exposed to get shelter, except trees, which are actually traps of nature. You cannot avoid the storm by going under the tree. You should avoid the tree instead. Superstition or not, some have said, aha, this is the solution to the herdsman crisis. Let us import the gods of Ijare Hills, sounds like showing Kazidore Hills, and send them to the farms of states of Plateau, Enugu, Nasarawa, Mambila, Benue, and lots more, and then dear the bandits. It's not the cows that the people loathe in the farmers' headers crisis. It's the owners, not the cows. After all, even the custodians or priests of the gods also crave the temptation of a cow meal. Yet not a hair of the header died. According to all reports, it's the header who harasses. They do the reconnaissance, they wield the guns, they maul, and destroy. They simply lead the cows along. Here again, it's a story of how, as a nation, we'll always go after the wrong targets. We destroy what we should preserve. It's a metaphor of how we waste human resources, as we have done in the past 59 years. But the headsman is the proper Nigerian, especially the elite, who do not respect rules or the rule of law. They were wont to stay away from the hallowed ground, but greed overrides propriety. Just as we have not followed the rules in mining our resources across the 36 states, so the 36 cows symbolize the states of the Federation. All of them fall to meaningless squander. It's illegal bunkering on crude oil and gangsters of mineral resources. In agriculture, it's corruption. We import to kill the local farmer. Let us look forward in hope to see what we shall make of the border closures, which I support if we can turn it into policy to galvanize local productivity. The headsman is the elite, the cows, the masses of sort. When the storm comes, the elites have a way of escape. He is safe, and all he needs is to tap into resources and start again, with a fresh consignment for plunder, or recruit new people for his schemes. The headsman here represents the Nigerian state as well, who leads the people astray. Now what's left of Ijare matter but stands? There's plenty of meat, but they're all rotten. The gods will not clear them. Locals are staying away. The state government has nothing to do with it. But the locals want the government to clear them. Will they need special auspices from the gods before government workers can dispose of the dead cows? Even the traditional ruler visits it once a year and after special permission. We don't want any tragedy in which lightning strikes the workers. It will need an extra dip into government revenue to clear the mess the gods have made. Of course, the locals fear diseases. It's not enough for the carcasses to fall in the wilderness. It's whether we can survive them. This is how we waste our wealth. At 59, Nigerian leaders have a cow lesson.
Welcome to Big Talk. My special guest today is none other than Dr. Ngige. the former governor of Anambra State, and I would say his second coming as Minister of Labor. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
People will say, some people have said, Dr. Chris Ngige's return to the position as Minister of Labor has not been accepted by some people because they feel that your first term was a little turbulent. What would you say to that?
Well, it's a question of the two sides of a coin. If you look at it this way, you see a different picture. Maybe if it is the former British pence we used to have, you see the Queen, and the other one you see the pantry, which was one of the cash crops in Nigeria at the time. Mm-hmm. So the issues are how you look at it and the perspective. Yes, some people say they would have preferred me to go to a more tranquil place. Yes, some people say they were fasting and praying that I come back to labor. So that is how it is. Those who want me to go to another place, you ask them, what's their reason? They say, oh, you suffered so much last time. You were in endless negotiations. You were picketed. Your house was invaded by labor unionists. And you never had rest. Some people now also amongst them will tell you, we want you to go to another ministry that is juicy.
What does that mean?
You ask them, what does that mean? God bless you. And they say they want you to go to Ministry of Health. You ask them why. They say there are more contracts to give in Ministry of Health. More job vacancies to be filled in Ministry of Health. You can build more hospitals for us. Or you go to Ministry of Works. We are tired of you not giving us anything in terms of contracts. We want financial empowerment. Those are some of the things the politicians say. Some others say they want you to come back to works, to labor and employment. Because in your first tenure, you did well. You did excellently well. If we are to mark you, we'll score you summa cum laude. With hindsight now, those people were in this group were led by Mr. President himself. Because starting from the point of the campaigns, wherever we meet people, especially labor unions or employers unions, he will always visualize me. He visualized me and said he has a competent, efficient, courageous labor minister. So he says it in council. He said it to the stakeholders in the private sector when we visited the Lagos house in Marina. He said it also even when the NLC came to congratulate him after the election. He told them that you omitted to thank one person or praise one person. After praising my chief of staff and my secretary to government, you say you didn't praise your own. But that's what it is. It's people on their shoots.
How would you assess your stewardship so far? I mean, we know what happened in the first.
Yes, my stewardship, I don't like to mark myself. But overall, in my mind, in my honest opinion, candid opinion, I feel I did well. Starting from the point that I didn't even have time for myself or my family, and that I walked around the clock, conciliating tackling one issue in the labor world, one issue to the other. Starting from the fact first that we came in and met a very bad economy. Oil price dropped from $120, $110 a barrel to $30 a barrel. At one point, $28 a barrel. And oscillating between 30, 40, and highest point, 45, 50. So we earned 1/3 of what the former administrations were getting. And with that, we are supposed to do a budget that will take care of personnel costs, allowances of workers in the federal public service. We are supposed to do capital projects so that Nigerian people will see us doing their roads, doing rails, water transport, air transport, infrastructure, and then servicing debts. They were all there. So it means tightening your belt. And tightening the belt also meant that people's earning had to also be affected. And our president, in pursuing the manifesto of our party and the 3 cardinal principles of the manifesto we gave to Nigerians, one, that he would do the security of lives and property and secure everybody, starting with the Boko Haram insurgency in the Northeast, where they held 18 local governments before we came. I think either 21 or so, not even 18. And he had now to put money into security, arms and ammunition, and, making the soldiers and the security forces feel the impact of doing the work. He had also to fight corruption, which he said he would do. He also needed to do the economy, and that is where all these things come in. And in doing the economy, tightening of the belt was one of them, and then there was no more money under the table for people to pay for. Yeah. The under the table money disappeared when we enforced the single treasury account. Previous government of Jonathan, they mounted it. Yes, they mounted it, but they couldn't effect it. This government of Buhari did that, and with that, all the underground, under the table money, which people call bribe, Ngige, welfare, it disappeared, it evaporated. So much infrastructure. There are so many terminology for it. It disappeared, and who are the most critically hit? The most critically hit people are the public servants, and then the businessmen by extension.
What of the masses?
Well, the masses, yes, it also affected them.
But they are supposed to be number one to be affected. The businessmen, they still have savings in the bank. Some of them have houses in Dubai and in France and in New York.
No, the people in the masses category don't own.
And the public servants, they do. But not the masses.
Very good. So I'm telling you that they are the people that were first affected, the public servants. They were the first. They are the people who take those underground, under the table money.
Oh, you mean the bribes? And
yes,
okay,
yes.
I thought you were
yes.
talking about the economy.
No.
Okay.
So they take it and sprinkle down some, little down. The businessmen connive with them and get the bigger chunk and have the houses you are talking about in Dubai, in Lebanon, and they'll run away from UK now and United States and gone to
some other places.
Other places. So it had a consequential effect on my ministry.
Yes.
Because the public servants now remember that the government were owing them allowances, arrears of allowances, salaries. And this government was the past government, not even the Buhari government. So agitations all over the place for payment of what you are owing us. Salary arrears, shortfall in salaries, call duty allowances, and academic allowances by ASU, call duty allowances by doctors, especially the resident doctors, NASU, allowances in the universities for research
yeah.
and for putting putting overtime duties. So it was like a torrent coming in torrents, and then
and you were in the middle of all of this.
Oh yes.
So do you feel boxed in?
The fuel subsidy was also removed.
Yes.
And fuel price moved from 88 naira a liter to 145. So I was in the middle of it, so to say.
Is there a complaint you are giving? Or?
No, I'm not complaining. I was working for my country. I believe in the manifesto of my party. I believe in executing it with the president. The president was told to pick people to help him deliver this to the country as per section 146, 147, and 148 of the Constitution. And he picked 36 of us and assigned me this duty to manage industrial relations, labor. So what do? We took it head on. The first strike came. We had to tackle the strike. That was the NSC strike. It's the only strike that failed. We tackled it. Thanks to the former Director General of the State Security Services, Dara. He assisted tremendously. We were working day and night. And at the end of the day, we foiled the strike. We got a portion of the unions to support us, to say that the economy is not good and that we needed some time.
Some people say what you did was to divide the union rather than stop the strike, in the sense that you divided the union. In other words, you set the masses against themselves.
The unions were already divided. So I didn't need to divide them anymore. I gave my catechism to them. Once I bought my catechism, my preaching, and said, I'm talking sense.
That's the gospel according to Chris Ngige.
Correct. That this government is talking sense, and they came and said, we will give you some time. That's it. And luckily for us, they were the sensitive unions. They were the unions controlling electricity. They were the union, that's NUI, and their senior partner. Then there were the union also controlling the oil industry, Nupeng and Pengasin. They were the union controlling the banks. And then they were the union controlling the air traffic controllers and the aviation unions.
So they couldn't cripple the country?
No. The strike fell flat after just 24 hours. And we moved on from there, stuck with them, and agreed that we set up a technical committee to look on the impact, the effects of the snowball effects of the increase in price of PMS. That committee worked as a technical committee and then recommended and constituted the membership for discussion of a new minimum wage, because they had said that it was new minimum wage that was one of the things they needed for a variation in the entitlement of civil servants.
Some people have said the minimum wage is a journey to nowhere, that is a very clever ploy to give you peace of mind, while all of the issues of labor and the permutations of how to really make this minimum wage thing work. That is still a goal, and really implementing it is actually one of the best things that has happened to you and your government, because you can always say, yeah, we are working on minimum wage 30,000.
No, those people, they want to give a dog a bad name to hang it. But they cannot hang us this time. It's one of the demands of labor.
We know.
And it's a realistic demand. Because the last minimum wage act signed by President Jonathan had a 5-year lifespan.
Yes.
For review after 5 years. So in effect, by a flushing of time, it was timeless that at the time the fuel increase was done,
Yeah.
we started discussing, and there was a fluxion of that law by time. So they demanded for it. We now packaged the structure of a new minimum wage committee, their terms of reference, what they should do, and then got the membership in place. The acting president at the time, Professor Yemi Osibajo, we took it to council. It was approved. I brought it to council. It was approved. And I made a recommendation for a chairman because it was within the prerogative of government to do that. But Labour had their full complement of about, I think, 12 persons. We gave it to them. Then NECA, that's a consultative assembly, with Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, and NASME, the small and medium enterprises. They also got their own allocation. Government brought their own allocation. Labour Minister, Minister of Finance, Minister of Budget and Planning, Chairman of Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission as Secretary, and myself as Deputy Chairman, Amapepu as Chairman. And we discussed, did zonal hearings, and everything.
That's what people believe, that by the time the 30,000 naira will come into implementation, it even as it is today, it is not a living wage. That even by the time it will get into implementation, people will have said, no, 30,000 naira has been overtaken.
No, you are definitely wrong here. You are wrong. The implementation has started. Since the August pay packet, it started. August pay packet was paid the end of August. Yeah. And the arrears on the minimum wage will also be paid for grade level 1 to grade level 6 in the public service. It will be paid. The arrears will be paid for September
at the federal level.
At the federal level. That is the good news. So those who are telling you that by the time
full implementation,
we have started.
We know you are Federal Minister of Labour.
Sam, you see, the minimum wage issue, let us put it in the proper context. What is minimum wage? The minimum wage is the compensation in terms of money that the lowest paid worker in the lowest rung, the lowest paid worker in the remuneration ladder will get. In the public services, grade level 1, step 1. We moved it from 18,000 to 30,000. And if you do that 30,000, it means that by the old rungs you have of the ladder, moving somebody from 18 to 30, you have encroached, you have impinged on another grade level. Yes.
So it goes on like that.
Correct. So we impinge on people on 7 by 30,000.
Yes.
Because they were the original persons earning 30,000. So you must do a consequential adjustment upstairs for everybody. That is it. So we have no problem in the federal level of 1 to 6. We agreed immediately. The committee agreed. The Committee of Federal Government. And that is why it's been implemented. We advised as Presidential Committee on Salaries, which is a new Apex Committee on Wages that the President have put in place. We advised that it should be done immediately where you have no problem. In fact, I have advised Labour when they saw me yesterday that is in their own interest. Because my father told me two or three things about money. Number one is that if you don't want to quarrel with your friend and others, don't loan them money. It's easy
Good advice.
for people to ask you to loan them money, but it's difficult for them to pay back.
Exactly.
He said, if your very good friend asks you for loan, please try and dash him some money.
Instead of loan.
Instead of loan. If you don't want to quarrel with him, if you regard him as a very good friend.
Exactly.
If he asks you for X amount, if you have that X amount to dash him, but don't call it loan. He also said to me, if somebody is owing you 100 naira, and you have been asking for this 100 naira, and he brings out 10 naira and gives you, don't refuse. Take it. So I use those words. They're words of elders. And I have noticed it in life. Those I have given loans of money, 50% never came back. And I had to quarrel with those 50%. I said, okay, take my loan and go.
You didn't heed the advice of your father.
I didn't heed, because sometimes you're under heat. So I have asked Labour that this 1 to 6 should be taken. Put it in your pocket. Continue the CBA negotiation for 7 to 17.
It's called that low-hanging fruit.
Yes, low-hanging fruits. Pluck them. I believe they will heed my advice, because I have given them so many advice that paid them off at the long run in negotiations. So I'm optimistic that when we come back, because we're going to reconstitute the committee, the head of service who was heading the committee, government side, is no longer there. The budget and planning minister of old is no longer there. I came back with finance. It's two of us that came back from the old committee. So we are going to take their reports on where they have stopped, and we shall continue from there. And once the Secretary of Government comes back from his short leave, we'll move.
Leah, who is a rape victim? One plucked, unlocked, inner crept, or the other, a drone with a bag synthetic skin and hair funded by pot-bellied papas of a strange blood and brood. One is rape, and the other self-rape. The later lazy, going after thief, not like you, willing to be free.
Thank you for watching the program today. You can catch up with my published columns on www.samomashaye.com. Also follow me on Twitter. My handle is @SamOmashaye. And until next time, be good.